Hello, everyone. This is criminal profiler Pat Brown. And I just saw this Dear Abby that I disagree with a lot of what she says. And I think it's a huge problem for people. So, this Dear Profiler Pat is going to be about what do I do if my partner wants a dog or cat and I don't? It's a huge problem, let me tell you. And before I get going, please do subscribe to the channel and check my playlists for all the kind of advice you would like. And yeah, let's get on to this one. Dear Abby, my wife and I have been married 7 years. It's the second marriage for both of us. We have a good relationship and love each other. I told her before we were married that while I like animals, I do not want a pet. She is an animal lover and is now pressuring me to get a small dog. She's hoping I will change my position, but I will not. She told me this morning that she might have to leave me and find someone who wants a pet. I told her I understand and I will accept her decision. Now I need guidance because I realize that a dog is more important to her than our relationship. Please help. Annoyed in Indiana. Here's Dear Abby's answer. Dear Annoyed, I wish you would have stated why you feel so strongly about not having a parentheses small dog in your home. You and your wife need more mediation than I can offer in a letter. A marriage counselor may be able to help you communicate with each other more effectively than you have been. Oh, I think they've been communicating perfectly fine. He doesn't want a dog. She does. She says to leave him if he won't get a dog, and he says, if you ask what you want. I don't know more clear communication you can get. For her to have given you a semi-ultimatum was wrong. But it indicates to me that you two have more problems to resolve than whether to get a dog. Well, yeah, it may be that that's her excuse for getting out of the relationship. So, well, but that's not what I'm going to go for in this video. I want to talk about what do you do when your partner wants to get a pet and you don't want that pet in your home. Now, he said he'd been married for 7 years and told her before he got married that he didn't want a pet. And now she's changing. She agreed to that. And now she's changing the thing. And she's going, hey, no, I know we agreed to that, but now I think I should be able to have a dog. Now, the size of the dog, Dear Abby's like, well, you didn't explain why you didn't want a small dog as opposed to a big dog. Because it's a dog. Got that, folks? Because it's a dog. That is why. Now, I mean, if you love dogs, you're going to say, I'd love a dog smaller, large. I'm a dog person. But there are people who aren't dog people. Or there are people who like dogs but don't want them in their houses. There are people who love cats and want them in their houses, and their partner does not like those little furry psychopathic beasts running around, which I have one sitting over here right now. But there is the point where if you don't want a specific kind of pet in your home, it's a huge deal because it's like having a child in your home. If you don't want to have children, having a child in your home is a problem, especially if it's somebody else's child. Let's say you want to get together with this person and they say, my children aren't living with me. And all of a sudden the children show up and they're now going to live in your house and you have to deal with them. And they're not even your children. Well, it's the same way with pets. If you're getting together and you have a household together, children and animals are adding them to the household is a huge responsibility and a huge lifestyle change. It's not something minor at all. So to say that, maybe it's just a small dog, it won't bother you. No, the small dog will be in that house 24/7. It will bark, 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 bark. It will beg for food. It will jump on you. It will shed hair. It will lick you. It will do what dogs do. And if you love that, then you have no problem. Now, just to show you, this is the house next door is my daughter's house. These are her four dogs. I love her dogs. I go and pet them. I feed them and all that stuff. But to tell you the truth, I don't want them in my house. I don't want to live with a dog. I'm one of those people that doesn't want to live with a dog. I don't mind living with a cat, but I do not want to live with a dog. So, and I also want a cat that goes outside. I have a cat. I've always had a cat door. And I don't want to do litter boxes. and I don't want the cat to be stuck in the house. I want to be able to go run and play and come back in. And so I've had cats for years, but with a cat door. So I would have issues maybe if I lived in an apartment. Somebody says I want to get a cat. I'm like, what? Does that mean we're going to have a litter box in the bathroom? I have to smell that litter box every time I go into the bathroom? That might be a problem for me, even if I like cats. So just because you want an animal in your house doesn't mean your partner wants an animal in your house. And then it depends what kind of animal you want. Now, when I got married to my husband, he was pretty cool about animals. And I said, I love animals. And this is something you should discuss before you get into a relationship. It's one of those important things. I mean, people say, oh, it's not a big deal. No, it's a big deal. So before you get into a kind of long-term relationship, you want to find out whether the person wants to have kids, where the person wants to live, what state they want to live in. Hey, I want to live in Alaska. No, okay, wrong person. Not me. I will never move there. I don't like the cold. Go find a person who likes cold weather. So these are important things because these are where you're going to have to live every day of your life. So when you're bringing a pet in, the same thing. There are some people who are allergic to animals, certain dogs and cats. They can't even be in a house with that. And then it's not fair to say, oh, well, just take allergy shots. Really? I mean, if they really want to live with the animal and they're willing to take the allergy shots, well, that's fine. But to force them to do that is not fine. So when I got married, I loved animals. So I told my husband to be, I'm an animal person, and I said, but I'm not a dog person. Never been a dog person. Like, I like other people's dogs. Don't want them in my house. I don't want that. So if we get together, I don't want a dog, but I do like cats. I do like lizards. I love iguanas. I love frogs. I like rabbits. I like pretty much any animal in my house except a dog. And so he agreed. He said, that's fine with me. And he had his one rule: no snakes. Because he hated snakes. He's scared of snakes. So we're walking down a path and there's a black snake coming across. And he's like, ah. And I'm like, oh, look, cute snake. And he's like, how can you pick that thing up? So we never had a snake in the house. I did bring in a legless lizard, but he wasn't too happy about it. It's called a glass lizard or a legless lizard. And it does throw its body back and forth, but it's a lizard. It's not a snake. You still don't like it. And you could even say, well, as long as you had the snake in, if you wanted to bring a snake in, you could have it in a certain area of the house that he doesn't go to. Yeah, but he's always going to think about that snake. That snake's going to get out of the cage, the terrarium or whatever. It's going to come slithering through the house. It's going to make him uncomfortable to have a snake in the house. So no, it's not okay to say, okay, well, I still want it, but I'm going to put it over here. So unless they really agree to that and say, okay, that doesn't bother me as long as I don't have to see it, fine. If they're not, that's what they can do. But if you make an agreement, you shouldn't break that agreement. So I don't want a dog in the house. And if I meet somebody now, because I'm single now, if I meet somebody now, I personally do not want to live with a dog. Now, let's say I meet a guy and he's like so amazing, and he's already got a dog. I will have to decide whether I will have to go ahead and live with a dog in order to be with this person. I think that would be my choice. I already know he's got a dog. I'm not going to tell him he has to get rid of his dog so I can be in his life. I think that's horrible. So I wouldn't do that. So I might have to say, okay, how old's your dog? If he dies, will you get another one? But okay, I'll live with him because I want to live with you. So, but that's something I would have to accept. But if I meet somebody with no dog, I would tell them right up front, I really don't want to live with a dog. So please, if we're going to get together, please do not come home with a dog. Do not say after you've been with me for 7 years, if I can't bring home this dog, we're going to break up. Don't do that to me. Just make sure that you can live without a dog. So if I hook up with somebody and they tell me they don't want to live with a cat, well, then I have to decide whether, like I have a feral cat now. He's sitting over there. It's not really my cat. He's a feral cat, but he's been coming in for 8 months. So I guess he's my cat. But anyway, but if I meet somebody and, they don't want a certain pet in the house, I shouldn't force it on them. I shouldn't make them live with that. It's a lot, because living with a pet is a lot of work. It is, no matter what. It's not only is it that they might interact with you way more than you want that interaction. Like some people love when they walk in the door that the dog runs up to them and jumps up and licks them and is barking happy. And they're so love the fact that the dog loves them and they pet it and they like to snuggle with the dog and they love everything about being around a dog. They love taking the dog for a walk and talking to people about their dog. They love all that stuff. But what if you're a person who doesn't love all that stuff? You come in the door and the thing comes up and starts barking at you and licking you, and you don't like that. Then you have to deal with it. It's like, okay, and then you will sit down and the darn dog is there again. Then you try to get in bed and the dog wants to get in bed. The dog is there all the time. If you don't like it, you're going to have an issue with it. And if you're with somebody who doesn't want that, they're always going to be annoyed by that. And on top of just what happens in the house is the care of the animal requires a lot of work, money, and also if you're not going to be at home, what happens with that animal? So let's say you're with somebody. Let's say one person is an at-home person, the other person is at work all day. The person at work all day wants the dog. The person who's staying home all day doesn't want the dog, and now they're stuck with the dog all day while you're at work. So you're giving them the job. That's not fair. What about if you want to go on a vacation? What happens with the dog? Now, do you put the dog in a dog kennel? As dog hotels? Do you have somebody come in and take care of the dog? What about that? How does that work? And that can be a real problem because I know I've been out with people and they'll say, I have to get home to my dog. I have to let the dog out of the house. I have to go home to give my cat insulin shots. So their life has to work around the animal that they've got to go home and take care of. And let's say they decide they want to leave for a month and go or snowbird, and they can't. The animals, do you take the animal with you? I mean, there's all kinds of problems with this, but it's something you have to think about. One of the reasons I didn't want to get a cat after my last cat died was because I want to travel again, and I want after COVID, and I have traveled after COVID. My cat died, so he didn't. I have to be able to take care of the pet. I can't just disappear. Now, mind you, with the cat, I did have a way to deal with that. I live next door to my daughter. So since I have a cat door, what I had her do was she came in once a week and just refilled this huge bowl of meow mix and a huge bowl of water. And therefore, the cat had food and water the whole week, and it went outside of the bathroom and played and did all the stuff. I came home and it was like, so where have you been for the month? So it worked. But what if I want to leave for half a year? That could become a real issue. For 4 weeks, yes, but what about half a year? If I want to be a snowbird, who's taking care of the cat for half a year? And is the cat lonely for the next half a year? So I decided not to get another cat until I decided where I was going to be, living throughout the year, whether it's going to be going away a long time or not. And that same reason I love lizards. I love an iguana, but the iguana requires a lot of work. You got to make sure it's got the proper heat and the food. And then if you leave, you got to get somebody to come in and take care of it. Can't take care of itself. So you have to hire somebody, you can find them. And right now, I don't want that responsibility. And I don't want my pet to be unattended and not taken care of. So I chose not to get another pet right now. However, I do have a feral cat sleeping over there in a cat bed. So, I don't know about him, but anyway. So, you've got the animal, just like a child, your pet requires your attention, your love, your care, your time, all of these things. And so it helps to have, if you're living with somebody, both people should want that pet in the house, and find that pet a bonus, find that pet adding joy to their lives. Shouldn't have a person hating that pet being there every day of its life. That's, it's because it's not nice for the pet, but it's also not nice for the partner that they have to put up with that when they absolutely do not want to. So just because we love an animal doesn't mean somebody else does. And it doesn't make you a bad person if you don't particularly, like I know I love iguanas, but I know people think, ugh, iguanas, that's horrible. And I also had a potbelly pig in my house for 20 years. And that was a 300-pounder. I didn't want a dog, but I was perfectly willing to have a potbelly pig. And I found the pig terribly amusing. and it went outside to go to the bathroom, but it did, squeal at the door when I wanted to go to the bathroom, and I'd have to let it out, and it would run around the yard and have a good time during the day. But it was a problem if we were going away on vacation. Who's going to feed the pig? Luckily, my husband didn't have a problem with the pig. He thought the pig was cute, and the pig didn't make much noise and was clean, and was a relatively good pet. I mean, I like the pig, but other people are going to say, you're not putting a pig in my house. This is not happening. I'm not living with a pig. Don't anybody come here and say, well, I've already got one of those in human form. But also we have to look at one other thing I want to mention about animals is the smell of animals, the damage animals do. As I said, I don't like a litter box. Dogs, they shed, depending on what kind of dog you have, what kind of cat you have, shedding hair all over the furniture. And my daughter's new puppy, the one in the middle of the Cane Corso, with a Santa hat on, that thing's a puppy now, and it's 100 pounds and still a puppy, and it's eating up the furniture, and it's destroyed her couches. I mean, it does. I mean, it loves to grab anything it can, and so if you're not the person who is the one who wanted that dog, you're going to get pissed off when your furniture is wrecked. Or let's say a cat gets senile, jumps up on your beautiful couch, and then proceeds to have diarrhea on it or pee on it. That's not fun. So these are things that are issues. And then veterinarian costs. My God, a lot of people have dogs. The cost of and some of the people with cats too. They're just taking that animal to the vet. I've seen people saying they spent $10,000 on their animal, and I'm like, oh my God. I wasn't a big vet user. All my pets did well and never went to vets. So I lucked out on that. But dogs are the worst, in my opinion, as far as needing to go to the vet, and that's costly. So there's so many issues. I think I would just wish people say, "Oh, it's like dear Abby. Well, what's your problem with a small dog?" Not because I go like a chihuahua, It's like nips at your no. Anyway, but he didn't want one, and she's like now going, "We'll leave you if I can't get that animal now." I said maybe it's just her excuse, but there's so much to think about. So just like when you're dating or you're getting into a relationship or you're going to move in together, you should know before. You should have an open, honest conversation about things that make or break your life. Children is one of them. Where you're going to live is one of them. What kind of jobs you're going to be working. If you're raising children, what religion you're going to raise them at. Animals. What kind of do you want them in your house? Don't you want them in your house? What kind do you want in the house? And all that should be discussed, because partnership, it's not like a temporary thing, So you're talking about long term. You're gonna have a long term relationship with somebody and a long term living environment. You should all know what they're comfortable with, what your partner is comfortable with, and what kind of environment they want, and work that out before you move in together, because those things are extremely important. So, yeah. So what do I do if my partner wants a pet that I don't want? Well, you better have that discussion before you become partners. Anyway, those are my thoughts on this. Thank you for being here. And if you're new to the channel, please do like and subscribe and check those playlists. And if you want to send me a question, send it to profilerpatbrown@gmail.com and put in the subject line, Dear Profiler Pat, and see if I have any reasonable advice for you, and maybe it'll help you out. So thank you for being here, and I will see you for the next Profiler Pat. Bye.